Greetings all, it's Gerald Clark with you on January 7th, 2019. And I wanted to share a little bit of some observations that I've been seeing going on around the Earth just recently. This first piece that I'm going to show you is from the website that's shown above. This is a NOAA tool for looking at the geomagnetic flux disturbances or perturbations that happen on the Earth. And this is due to solar radiation that probably is making it through Earth's defensive shield, which is the Van Allen belts, and also through its magnetic shield close proximity that's showing up as holes at the poles where this energy then, as a plasma, essentially interacts with the Earth's metallic core and creates magnetic flux deviations that you see in the dipole. So let's watch this real quick. This was on January 5th, and it started at 3:43 and then went forward. So let's just give that a play. All right, so you can see the scale is shown here on the right. The lowest part is 0 nanoteslas. It's measured in nanoteslas, which is 1.0 times 10 to the negative 9 teslas. Okay, so it's a small number, but up in this region would be about 350 to 400. You can't really tell where they delineate here, but if you watch on the map, in this northern region right up here around New York, and also down through Alaska and maybe even possibly down into southern Canada in this region. It looks like the aurora borealis is moving further down, if that's what it would look like, these plasma fields. Look at the South Pole, it's the same. Okay, so it's quite interesting that you're getting this level of magnetic perturbation on the Earth caused by the sun. And you can see it just kind of comes and goes quite quickly. So let's watch this one last time. It goes goes from 1 universal time all the way to what? What does it go to? There's 2. So that's an hour. There's 3. That's 3 hours. And looks like it goes all the way to 4. It measures a 4-hour chunk is what it does. And maybe it does that multiple times per day, and this is the one I caught. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you so you could see what's happening. When you get a magnetic disturbance like this, it could interact with your electromagnetics, including telephone lines, power stations, and things like that. Okay, so I would expect to see regions up in the north like this, like Washington, New York, these kind of areas, to be starting to experience some of the side effects of this very rapid perturbation that in 4 hours it went from almost the bottom of the scale to the top of the scale and fluctuated. So I thought that was quite interesting, and I'm going to minimize this and then show you one other thing. Let's see. Let's escape out of that and go over to this other one that I had. Okay, so what I brought up is the Lascaux stereo vision of the sun, and there's 2 different versions, Lascaux 1 and 2. And this actually comes from the same site. So if you go under observations, you can get the, let's go here. Hopefully I'll be able to find my way back here. So if you go to here, you can go to all the different tools that are available here. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, there's the, I think I used this one down here to get the, where is it? Oh, no, it was a special one. I thought it showed up above here. Anyway, oh, it's under products, not observations. So we got to go back here, see if we can find that. Where were we? Okay, let's go look at Lascaux 2. This is Lascaux coronagraph. Okay, so one of the filters is kind of red and the other one's kind of blue, so you can see the distinction. I'm going to start them both playing so you can see them. Okay, and this one as well. So it'll take a second for it to load up here. And we'll just watch it through a couple times, and then I'm going to make a couple comments. Let's see if I can get this one to play. I guess maybe it does one at a time. All right, so this one, there's some interesting discoloration going on here all the time, and then you get this large coronal ejection here with some strange rays coming down here that are almost continuous with a lot of debris flying around. You can see it on here, but you can see it a lot better on this one. So let's go over to this side. Oh, can we do this full screen? Okay. So I'm going to let this play through and let you watch this. And this is Lascaux 2. That looks like Saturn right there. A very good view of Saturn. You can even see its rings. We're getting a lot of very strange artifacts on this one. And I'm going to let it play to the end, then I'm going to stop it and I'm going to make some comments. Okay, so this one starts on January 6th at 1730, 2019. The previous geomagnetic flux disturbance that I showed you was on the day before. Okay, remember? So we're consecutive days here. I believe that is Saturn right there. It's very clear. All right. So essentially the sun's sitting back behind this filter so we can see the emitted energy coming around outside of it. The first thing I want to note is there's a very strange, almost collimated beam here that's very different than anywhere else around the sun, and it's consistently pulsing on and off all through the video. I'm going to go slow through here just to get you focused on this thing just alone. And the reason I say it's collimated is because it starts out with a small focal point and then comes out to a larger dispersion that seems very controlled. And you can see that with the particles that are highly illuminated in that field. Okay, so let's just watch that. I'm going to slowly go forward. You can see it's almost always there. And then here you can see it flashing fully on right there. You can see when it's fully on, everything is illuminated here. That's not happening here or anywhere else for that matter. It's just here. And I'm thinking to myself, is there something down here with some sort of plasma or electromagnetic connection to the sun that's causing this? All right, let's go forward a little bit more and just watch it. Okay, it's still there, still there, still there. And there's something just streaks across the sun. And by the way, as a general commentary, there is so much debris in this space. It's like the sun is going through a debris cloud, which was what I spoke about in the Mayan fifth sun and ascension timing, as you run the sun through a debris cloud, and it's going to start utilizing that material to augment its internal energy that we receive as radiation. Okay, okay, let's go forward a little bit more. Now you can see that beam is still there, and the particles are still illuminated in it. Okay, it's very, very different. Like I said, around the side here, you don't see that anywhere else. It's just here. Still there, still there. Now we get a nice big ejection from the sun. Imagine, okay, if this is Saturn, imagine how much smaller the Earth is than Saturn, and it were to be exposed facing something like that. This is pretty dangerous stuff here. Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Not sure what all this incoming debris is, but it just is showering through suddenly. I mean, it's just fantastic. You don't see that when you play the video. Let's go a little bit slower and see what other things show up right about in here. Okay, so you still have this very prevalent, almost like a wormhole there. Okay, now I don't know what had just happened here, but it's very definitive, and it doesn't really change its location that much. It stays right down in this area. Okay, this is almost like particles going from faster than the light then slower to the light, and changing their mass and neutrinos as it's doing this. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. There it lights up again. So imagine that's going off and on like that. It would make the sun look like it's pulsing. And I've been seeing a lot of images of people taken from the Earth showing the sun pulsing. Well, okay, so let's go on a little bit farther. Okay, there, that would look like a pulse if it went on and off like that, right there, that same area I was showing you. And here we get another very fantastic almost like an explosion here. Well, that might be the end of the frame that caused that, but right before it, right there, we get another one of those dark regions following that line, or that radial line coming out from the sun. So with that said, I'm going to stop right here, and then I'm going to do an article on the geophysics of the sun, and we'll pick up in just a moment. Also, I wanted to give you guys a video that we took on the 3rd of January. I believe it was sunset. I didn't think we captured it very well, and we were shocked at the colors, especially the purple and the transition, and just all the different colors, and the spectrum and the breadth of the sky that was covered by it was just incredible. We've seen lots of neat sunsets before. This was very unusual, and additionally, the next morning we thought we would record and see what we came up with. So this is the next morning. You can see at sunrise on the 4th, we still had this purple looking color up here. It was quite amazing. Let's see if I can make it bigger so you can see it there. Very unusual. This is actually a video, and I just slowed it down so that we could take a look at it. And we're used to seeing colors at sunrise and sunset, but this purple is very, very unusual. I'm not used to seeing that. And I know I've seen some other pictures from around the world, or other people are seeing the same thing. And I truly believe it has to do with probably a mixture between the chemtrailing and the effects of plasma or the solar radiation as it strikes these ionized particles. Now listen, when you spray particles up in the atmosphere, especially metallic ones like what they're talking about here, and where they're spraying them, these stay up for quite a long time. They don't just fall instantly to the ground the next day and then you have to spray it up again. They can stay up for a very long time. So as they settle, sometimes during these conditions, you start seeing it. Now you have to ask yourself, if this has been going on for many years, which it has, and if you read the reports, they've been doing geoengineering and spraying for almost 50 years, knowing this solar transition was coming. So if they've been doing this for a long time, and they have, why all of a sudden are all the skies suddenly turning this color? Is it because of a new addition they put to the chemtrails, or is it the energy that's striking that's causing this? And based on the previous chart I showed you with the magnetic flux being disturbed so significantly, and I went ahead and let's go ahead and stop this. I went ahead and got another thing to show you. I'm going to show you that first. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, this one. This is I chose 7 days. You can see right here, I chose the last 7 days. And today being the 7th, this is from January 1st until January 7th. Okay, so what I'm showing you here, let's just do the magnetic field. Okay, so what you're looking at is the magnitude of the magnetic field of the real-time solar wind from this ACE device. You can see the link up here. It's under NOAA's products. Okay, so this is the real-time solar wind. And I noticed when I caught the really strange magnetic flux deviation using the previous tool, on the 5th is the day that I took it, and it looks like I caught it just right, this jump discontinuity between this break in the magnetic flux, which I thought was just really kind of bizarre. And let's see, I think I looked at it further down here. Let's see, where did I find it? I want to say, was it this one? No. Low energy protons. Oh, here we go, this one. Okay, so this is the low energy protons, and the tool is the electron proton alpha monitor, EPAM. Okay, so what I wanted to point out here was, so this is January 1st here, and this is January 7th here. I noticed this very strange discontinuity right before, I guess this would be sunrise or sunset for the first day. I guess we'll call it sunset. So right before the second day starts, there's this vertical line in here that's missing material. You can see that. And it goes all the way up. Okay, it goes all the way up to here, as a matter of fact. And you can see the breaks here as well. So if you follow these down, there's one here, right before the second, another one here right before the third, another one there, very evenly spaced. And then when you got to the fourth, and then you get to the fifth, and all of a sudden the width of that disruption gets very wide. You can see that here. Almost, I don't know, a fourth of the day. You could count these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 of these division lines in here, it looks like, something like that. So we're talking a third of the day where this blackout is occurring. It's quite interesting. And then it does it again the next day. Exactly the same starting before and then after. Not exactly, it's about 1 tick difference here. And it got a little bit wider. Then here it stayed the same width as exactly the day before. So it's like, what is this periodic disruption every day going on here? Okay. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It may have to do with where the sun is relative to the earth and the sensors. I don't know that causes that, but I thought that was very interesting. Okay, so then the last thing I wanted to share, and I'm not going to probably do all of it. I'm going to pick a section of this document that was written by Daniel. I don't know who gave me the document, where it come from. I wish I did. I'd like to thank him because I've referred to it a couple of times. And the title of it is Geoengineering, Chemtrails, HARP, World Orders, Timelines, and Ascension. Okay, so let me go back to this to make sure we're still okay. We're still recording. Okay, let's come back to here. So I'm going to take you down to where we start talking about a little bit about the sun. Okay, I think we want to go down several pages here. Okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff before the section called solar transition, but I'm going to start you right here. If there's any acronyms that come up that I need to explain, I will. Time to put the pieces together. The sun's getting hotter from all the dust and debris the solar system is now experiencing. The increased fuel will increase the thermal destructive limit, which will cause a corresponding increase in magnetic ionization level, which will make more elements available for the stellar combustion process. The sun's going to get brighter and hotter. Initially, this will occur as bright flashes, like a mini nova, okay, little flashes, until sufficient material is available to hold the magnetic ionization limit at the next quantum step. At that time, the sun will suddenly jump up in stellar class and remain there. Well, up in the reciprocal system, down in conventional astronomy, since they have it backwards. This is based on Dewey Larson's book, Reciprocal Systems. Okay. Okay, I wanted to read a couple of these notes down here. The reason for the excess dust in the solar system is not clear, but astronomers have known it was coming for over 50 years. New Agers have billed it the photon belt, but it's more likely to be just nebular dust or protostar that is intersecting the plane of our solar system. As our sun, part of the Sagittarius dwarf, intersects the plane of the Milky Way, such occurrences are very probable. These bright flashes of the sun have been reported since 2010 at the higher altitudes where the atmosphere is thinner and there's no pollution or smog layer. The increased intensity flash lasts for several minutes to several hours and tends to be laser-like right there, causing peculiar damage in small areas. Such the sudden death of plants and trees. Leaves are burned to a crisp or the cracking of a car windshield. Okay, remember that focused energy I showed you coming off the sun that looked like a coherent laser beam that was one focal point near the sun and then just dispersed or diverged as it went out to the outer limits of the Lascaux 2 observer. So that really caught my attention, having worked in laser field. That's exactly what it looked like to me. The transition should be interesting. When the magnetic ionization level of the sun increases, it will be like throwing a cup of gasoline on the barbecue grill coals. A burst of flame and thermal activity so much that it will move the thermal speed past the speed of light. Okay, if you read further in the document, he quantifies things as FTL or LTL. So it's faster than the speed of light or less than the speed of light. And what that does is changes the mass of matter as it approaches that threshold. Okay. This inverse thermal emission actually occurs frequently on a small scale and is documented in detailed proof in K.V.K. Nehru's paper, Glimpses into the Structure of the Sun, the Solar Interior, and the Sunspots, and is the reason that sunspots are dark and appear to cool. Inverse, faster than light, thermal motion is super hot, so hot it appears cold, and the region of the sun where it takes place goes dark, as in the sunspot umbra. There are already indications of this beginning to occur. Except this time, the whole sun will become an umbra. There should be a bright flash like a nova flare when the gas hits the fire, additional elements suddenly being available for fuel from the jump in magnetic ionization. Okay, what he's talking about is the periodic table of the elements, and in particular the transition metals, become available when the magnetic ionization goes to a certain level, and he explains that earlier in the paper. Then the sun will go dark, like it went out, but only for a short time until the initial burst of new fuel has burned up and the sun returns to the zone of stability. Like most things, this has happened before and will happen again. Also recall the radioactive transitions. When the magnetic ionization increases, there will be a huge burst of radio waves as the material is accelerated faster than light, along with the nova flare. The sun will go dark, FTL motion, and when it starts to light up again, there will be a huge burst of X-rays from the sun and the possible ejection of a great deal of matter from the surface of the sun due to the re-expansion of the faster than light thermal motion back to sublight speed. Okay, this is kind of like what I've described before. When you put energy into a certain system, like a laser diode, it'll go to a next level energy. When it comes back down to the previous level of valence shell for its electrons, it gives off energy. Well, the sun is doing the same thing. Okay, post-transition. After the transition is complete, the sun will be physically larger, brighter, more white than yellow, and hotter than before. And it's going to stay that way. One would think this situation would make the inner planets go up like marshmallows burning on the campfire. But curiously, that is not the case. It seems that whoever designed stars and planets considered this and used the energy of transition to aid in the further evolution of life. What will happen is that, due to the increased faster-than-light motion in the sun, the gravitational balance of the solar system will change. FTL motion is anti-gravitational, so the sun will literally push the planets further outward in their orbits in compensation. The year will get longer. Being further from the sun, the planet will survive and establish a new ecosystem, but a different one. The changes in the sun will also produce changes in planets, particularly the electromagnetic alignment of the poles. This is your pole shift. As has been noted in geological records, the north and south poles of the planets have been in various locations across the globe, not because the poles are moving, but because the crust of the planet is moving relative to the mantle and the core. There's also a high degree of probability that the even will trigger a core flare. Okay, that it'll even trigger a core flare, an expansion event of faster than light matter in the core, dropping to sublight speeds and causing the crust of the Earth to expand and open at tectonic boundaries, eventuating in more surface area and a drop in ocean levels as compensation. In my opinion, the solar transition is the harvest or ascension to a new state for life on Earth, not just man, all life. All the physical properties get kicked up a notch, as Merrill would say, commonly known as the higher density or higher dimension. I think I'm going to stop there for now, and basically just let you guys. I wanted to close by saying that basically, from the Diehold Foundation, we found out that the transition for the sun happens every 12,000 years, where it does this micronova thing. Okay, so the real question is, are we due again? I mean, is it time again for this to happen? So I'm not too overly concerned that if it does happen, we'll just transition. But what I want to talk about is if this energy of a micronova from the sun strikes the human body, that's something I want you to think about. Okay, and it does it incrementally. It does it slowly, and we start seeing the pulses from the sun, which we're seeing now. So pay attention to your energy body and see what's happening, because I truly believe that our destiny is to become light. And what better way than for the sun to transition your energy form to its next form, incrementally while you're aware of it, knowing it's coming and participating with it, because that was the natural order of things. Spraying things in the atmosphere to change the relationship between the sun and the earth is unnatural, and it cannot be sustained. So eventually we're going to be exposed to this energy, and then we should be ready for that next form that looks like it's ready to happen. So no fear, people, and just enjoy the colors in the sky. It's absolutely fantastic. This has been Gerald Clark with 7 Planet Broadcasting on January 7th, and we'll talk to you soon.